If you run a meta heavy brand, by that I mean you're running predominantly meta ads, you're highly direct response, maybe even running on funnelish, or you just have this one product and this one offer that you're pushing to 500K per month, 1 million per month in sales, you're heavy direct response, you're super cold traffic. But the problem is when you try and run Google ads the same way, whether you're scaling on cold traffic on Google ads, search, shopping, or you're trying to run YouTube ads to scale your brand as well, you're falling into a massive problem and you have no idea how to make it work. This is the exact video you need to watch because I'm going to show you exactly how to scale meta heavy e-commerce brands on Google ads in 2025. So what's happening here is that you probably got some freelancer or some agency to build a really complex setup inside of your Google ads account. And all of that is going to include loads of different search campaigns. If your GMC isn't banned yet, then you're going to have a shopping campaign. You're going to have a brand PMAX and a non-brand PMAX. You have a branded search. But if you really dig into your account, all of your spend is going on branded conversions because your meta spend is going so heavy and you're generating so much search volume and people looking you up, looking for reviews, looking for testimonials. They may have seen your meta ad, but they didn't click on the ad, so they search your brand name up on Google. All of your spend is going there. I've seen brands spending up to like 5K of their spend, 20K of their spend per month, all just on brand conversions. And they never seem to be getting any product aware level or even problem aware level conversions on their account at all. So that's the first core problem. The second one, combined with that, is that you're basically just overspending on brand. You get a false sense of scale. So when I ask brands and I audit brands, okay, how much are you spending on Google per month? They're like, okay, between like 5 and 15K a month. But all of that is on the brand campaigns, and on the prospecting campaigns, there's like a 1.1x ROAS on it. So it's not even profitable. And then even if you go into that PMAX itself or that scaling shopping campaign, you see all of the search terms that it's converting on, and it's all still your brand name. So it gives you a false sense of scale to where like you're spending on Google, but you look at the account because you just hate it because you got some expert in to try and get you to scale it, but it just isn't working at all. The problem with that, as always, is that you're running stock agency setups where they just copy and paste the typical Google setup that everyone puts in, which is a branded search campaign, a shopping campaign, or a PMAX campaign. Maybe even they don't even touch demand gen at all. If they do, they don't even do it properly. They're spending like $50 a day with like a couple of sets of creatives and being like, oh, we tried it, but you only spent $500 on it with the wrong conversion mechanism. And you have no idea what you're doing because no other agency, a select few, know how to properly scale cold traffic on Google ads nowadays for e-commerce brands, especially meta heavy ones who have all of the creative ready. They have all the landing pages ready, but they just don't know how to translate them over to YouTube where it actually works properly. And there's no real cold traffic testing or scaling at all. So you're not running your YouTube campaigns properly. You're not segmenting out your cold search campaigns properly. You're not thinking about conversion mechanisms, landing pages, advertorials, quiz funnels, all of the different things that you can do to get people off of YouTube and into your funnel at really cheap CPMs, cheap CPCs, to where your AOV and your unit economics actually back out for you to get profitable spend and scale on Google, to where you're able to scale to 1K a day, 5K a day, 10K per day on cold traffic YouTube stuff. It's really hard to crack, but once you crack it, it's a massive moat for your brand, which adds an extra 20, 30, 40% of new customer revenue into your brand. What would that do? Watch this video and find out. By the way, if you want us to scale your Shopify brand on cold traffic with Google and YouTube ads properly, following the stuff we're going to be covering in this video, but also our full methodology of what we do for all of the brands that we partner with, first link in the description to demandcapture.com, watch the VSL, book a call, we'll audit your account, and then we'll see if you're a good fit to work with us. Even if you feel like we can't help you, you'll still get a ton of value in the audit. So book for your free audit, demandcapture.com, first link in the description. So here's not what to do, and here's what most brands do when it comes to their Google ads, especially if you're really non-compliant in direct response and fully cold traffic, and you're going for like an older demo as well, and you're making all these different claims. Don't bother with merch incentive now. You're probably going to get banned if you are like heavy drop shipping. If you're like a proper brand and you can really get GMC done right, where you have all of the policies there, you look like a proper brand, you do have good brand experience, you're like a one-of-a-kind brand, then of course run merch incentive. It's going to be really profitable for you if you're able to run shopping feed campaigns. But if you're just like a really meta heavy brand, you're fully creative, you're pushing like a high AOV product, or you're kind of grey hat, not compliant on meta, just don't even bother with GMC, don't even bother with shopping. Also, don't even bother with search either, unless you have like a high category product. If you have like a really unique product like a tanning pill or hydroloric acid for like skincare or something, just don't bother with it. You have such low search volume to not even justify spending on that search anyway. You can build it out, that's fine, but it's not going to be the real lever for you to pull of like actually cracking YouTube, which is going to be where your main top of funnel attraction is going to come from. You also don't want to run any of your traffic straight to a product page. Given where your product is probably positioned in the market, you need to do some education first. It's the same thing on Meta. You're running pre-sale pages, you're running educational pages, advertorials, listicles. Same thing can be done on Google. Google. If your GMC is live, yes, run it straight to the product page. But if you're on search and you're hitting problem aware terms, you need education. You need to write advertorial, sales arguments, listicles, pre-sale pages. If you're running product aware searches, then you can kind of get away with a product page because people are searching for that immediate product. And that's where the shopping ads come in if you do actually have those too. But you also want to have like a proper sales page where it isn't just the product and nothing else. You need to follow best practices for this too. When I say straight to a product page, it's just like straight to the buy button. Now you need to disguise the sales process a bit more, educate, make the argument why you're better than all the competitors that they're searching for on Google right now. Give them a reason to buy. You also never want to overspend on brand. Experiment with just turning brand off. We've seen it where really meta heavy brands, they may have had an agency run their stuff, they've overspent on brand. You take a look at it, the search impression share is really bad because they're not even using the proper bidding strategy, which is absolute target impression share for branded search campaigns. And you see it, they're spending like 30 cents a click. Great, spend is really low, but their search impression share is like 14% top of page, maybe even less than 10% top of page, which is not what you want anyway, so there's no point. So even though the ROAS looks good, the actual goal of what you're running the branded search for, which is protect your brand term and get people back into your funnel by being at the top of the page, doesn't actually pan out. So don't overspend on brand and just make sure that for a meta heavy brand, you're at like 70-80% search impression share. Don't run weak creatives. Creatives which are like just fully AI gen that are just part of your spam volume creative testing on Meta. You really want to run like your best creatives on Google and actually put the effort in to crack it. Make specifically compliant but also highly produced creatives. Don't rely on just your weakest creatives. Run your best performers, but even if they don't look like the best and they look super non-native for YouTube, then you really want to play around with actually making a proper go at it, which we'll get into in a second. And you also finally don't want to rely on stock strategies agencies hand out. I did it at a brand last week. They were running dynamic search ads. You only really run those if you have a massive content farm in terms of SEO in the first place, or you have a lot of different products and people are coming in different product categories. They're running a skincare supplement and it was basically a one-pager. Most of the funnel was on Funnelish anyway. So what are you doing running a DSA? Just copy and pasting a campaign structure that would run for every single e-commerce brand just doesn't work, especially when you need to account for where most of your traffic is coming from. And because you're highly direct response and you're trying to like Chad scale it on cold traffic, that's not the campaign type that you want to run. You can think of Google as like 3, maybe even 4 predominant traffic sources. You've got search, you've got shopping, you've got YouTube, and you've got display. Search and shopping don't necessarily even start with those when it comes to a meta heavy brand, which is super cold traffic. You just want to go YouTube and display. Display, really hard to crack unless you're doing it properly. So just go YouTube because you already got the creators on hand and you're able to transfer all of the funnels and the best practices over to YouTube and to actually run them properly. So don't rely on stock agency strategies. You really need like a custom one. If you were to do stock agency strategies, this would be the strategy that you would do, which is to turn your Google ads into a cold customer magnet. This bottom of funnel stuff you can do easily with just like one branded search campaign, one branded shopping campaign down here. If you have GMC set up with dynamic remarketing, so be it, that's all fine. But you're only spending like 1%, maybe even up to 5% of your budget total here. Again, this is like 5 to 10% of your budget. If you can run shopping, fine. If you have a PMX running, good, but don't use it for brand. Just use a dedicated branded search and shopping for this. Prospecting search, of course you want this, but again, it's not that much. You want to be putting all of your effort and 80-20ing it into demand gen. So you've got Google display here, YouTube in stream and YouTube shorts. You don't want to run it in feed. So just shorts, just in stream on mobile to start with, up until you get to 1K a day with landing pages as the conversion mechanisms. You have advertorial listicles, VSLs, quiz funnels, pre-sale pages, and all your best funnels for this, which then brings people into buying in the add to cart stage. So focus 80, this is really bad drawing, but focus 80% of your budget here, and you will put 10% of your budget here, 10 to 15%, and then you just want to put like 5% even here, maybe even 0, right? You don't even necessarily want all of that. So you just want to focus only on this type of funnel bit, because that's all you care about, and that's all that you're going to have access to when it comes to policy, because your GMC will probably be shut down, PMAX won't be worth it for you, prospecting search might not pan out because your product category, even if it is, then that's a good amount, and you're able to just get the 10% out of that in terms of the search volume for that, unless it's like a massive category, and then you might shift this to like 20-30% of it. But again, most of your stuff, the 20% of the campaigns will drive 80% of your results. So you want to put 80% of your budget into the 20%, which is around demand gen here. So this is what you do then. For creatives, you want to start on mobile until you get to like 1K a day in spend. And then you want to take your winning mobile creatives and put them into 16:9. So you're giving Google the amount of full placement, which is native to the feed. Even on mobile, it still looks weird when a mobile ad comes up because it brings up the whole screen and then it shifts back into what it would be 16:9. So if you have a 16:9 ad, it's much more native for that, especially when they're coming up on the mobile app. Your creatives want to be problem aware first, not demo focused. You want to call out the situation in which your ideal customers are in rather than calling out by a demo. demo. So for example, if you're doing like an arthritis thing, you don't want to call out 50-year-olds predominantly. You just want to like talk to the situation, like, being able to bend over or playing with your grandkids and that type of stuff. Because YouTube inventory is so massive, it's huge, especially in the US. You don't want to be calling out people directly anyway because it's giving them a reason to swipe away. But basically in your hooks, you want them to go, yeah, that's me. It's like, are you this or this way? Or are you experiencing this? You want to go, yeah, because they're in that state. They're either in an entertainment state or an education state. So you want to have an edutainment ad, which calls out to the problem-aware situation that they're in. And this helps you stay compliant as well, because you're not linking it to a specific condition or a claim or problem that they have. You're just talking around different lifestyle problems that they're facing. The CTA needs to be congruent to the conversion mechanism that you're using. CTA can be learn more about it in terms of like an article, a listicle, an advertorial. That's fine. A CTA to an offer direct to product page also works well. A CTA directly to the VSL is good as well. And then also a CTA, hey, take this 1-minute quiz and find out that. But hey, take this 1-minute quiz to find out which type is for you and what particular product's for you. So you want to have the CTA away from YouTube, which is highly addicting and interrupting of what they were looking for in the first place, because you're running in stream and on shorts as well. Shorts being super highly addictive, to the CTA of the interest of the conversion mechanism itself, because you're trying to disguise the sales process. And again, with YouTube, no lazy AI garbage, 11 labs, VO3 type of stuff. It can work in terms of the hooks and stuff, but you want to make it as real and high production as possible, because that's the quality that's on YouTube nowadays. And that's what actually makes it native and hard to crack, is that you actually have to have proper, strong creatives for this. And we can help you with this if you want help with this. So must look organic, must look intentional, and also must fit in the feed. People are used to skipping ads, but if the hook is so strong, because they have to watch the first 5 seconds, whereas with YouTube, they can just keep like scrolling past, but on in-stream specifically, they have to watch the first 5 seconds. So if the first 5 seconds is really high quality and the hook is towards problem aware, then that's the type of create that works really well on YouTube, because it's organic, intentional, and highly productive. Conversion mechanisms that you can use these in order. So I would start with a decked out product or sales page. So instead of just it being like the buy button, like a fully longer decked out pre-sale, disguise the sales process, but still have like the option to buy in bundles and that type of stuff there. Advertorial, so info or value or story. So you can run an information advertorial or value advertorial or story advertorial. I like story advertorials personally, because you're able to have the congruent ad specifically to like, well, I can't explain it now in this ad, but go like click here to learn more about my story and that transformation and that type of stuff. Love quiz funnels for YouTube. People love interacting with stuff, and I really like that, because it's like a personal consultative funnel, which disguises the sales process as well, but you just link all things to your product. Then I'd run a listicle. Listicles we haven't really seen pan out too well in terms of like 5 reasons why, all that type of stuff. We just prefer to be like decked out sales pages or advertorials or quizzes. And then VSLs we've only seen work when we've scaled massively, where we needed another conversion mechanism to test, and it didn't work as well as these other ones as well. Having like another video on top of the video that they already just watched, you might think that, okay, they're on YouTube, and you'd probably think that they would want to watch another video, but it's off platform. It doesn't necessarily pan out as well. So VSLs only at scale once other mechanisms have been saturated. And then for the technical setup, you want to run a new customer conversion tag. So this is a 2025 new source that we're doing, where we're installing 2 purchase tags into our client accounts, where you have one which is the traditional purchase tag, but the other one which triggers as a custom event within the Pixel or Shopify only on their first order. And then you want to have that as the primary conversion action, with the secondary all purchase one being the observation. We found this being insanely well. You can do this for stuff like blot out, but you can also just build it yourself, and that's what we've done with all of our clients, where at no extra charge we have the best tag for it. So you want to be optimizing around new customers only. This is what we do. CRO, site must be mobile optimized, especially because you're focusing 80% of your stuff on YouTube. You really just want to focus on the trustworthy, high effort stuff on mobile, and we will just be only running mobile only. We want to optimize this and build it around that. Better to be reminded than to be taught on this. And then build your ads, your product, your sales argument around problem aware audiences. YouTube is a higher, more like sophisticated audience. Think of them like more educated than the meta audiences. So they have a higher BS detector. So they're able to like suss out, oh, this is an AI ad, this is an ad. But if you just call out specifically to their problem, you're able to enter into that broader sense of audience and inventory that YouTube has access to, and is able to put it to many other different people. So talking specifically to them, calling out the problem rather than the demographic is what we've seen work really well. What actually unlocks YouTube for a lot of people, because their ads might be specific to like the product or the sales argument, but if you go as broad as possible, then YouTube is going to really perform for you, because its targeting is so good. And finally, this is the playbook. So follow this in order. First, you want to think about the creative, make it problem aware. Next, you want to then choose the conversion mechanism. Again, I would start with a decked out sales page. So just enhancing your product page that you already have, but make it like specific to the YouTube audience and congruent to the creative that you have. Then try advertorial, quiz funnel, listicle, and then VSL in this order. Then you want to optimize your CRO, then iterating the creatives for problem awareness, scaling budgets once the mechanism holds. So once you found the right mechanism and the ad for it, then you can just scale that fucker up. The scaling rules is that, again, focus on YouTube only. If you have like a direct response e-com cold offers, you want to do search and shopping only if the product has like inherent demand in it. For example, methylene blue, our biggest case study, works really well. Blood pressure stuff works really well. Supplements which help with the specific problem that people will be searching for, or if you've already got like a really popular supplement like Shilajit or whatever, that will work really well. Your brand campaign will be capped and not the primary scale lever. So again, have like 1% of your budget budget to it, or even just turn it off. You don't actually need it. And most agencies won't tell you this. They'll just run the branding campaign thinking like, yeah, this is high ROI, we can get an extra month or 2 months of retainer out of them. But with meta stuff, you don't even really necessarily want to be running brand in the first place. And really, the big idea is to hammer home with this is that cold traffic scale doesn't equal branding conversions. So just turn your brand off doesn't work. The creative plus the mechanism is 80% of the outcome, not your bidding, not your type of campaigns. Just run YouTube, run demand gen, or any stock account setups. Google in 2025 is that you want to go to YouTube first with direct response, shopping only if you have true category demand. And of course, the CRO is non-negotiable. YouTube traffic won't tolerate weak sites or scammy offers. So you want to be as compliant as possible. You can't just run the full direct response stuff because they're a bit more highly sophisticated than that. So you need to actually invest into your branding, invest into making it like a proper thing, even if you might not be, but this is the best way for it to pan out. So that's exactly how to scale meta-heavy e-commerce brands on Google Ads 2025. Focus 80% on demand gen, but only run YouTube and scale that. If you want us to scale your YouTube ads for you, then visit demandcapture.com, first link in the description, book a call, we'll audit you and see if you're a good fit to work with us. If not, then we'll tell you what to do on Google. If you are, then we'll do it for you. Fully done for you service. Scaling on YouTube ads. Watch the video on screen. Book a call. See you in the next video. Bosh.